Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 72 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one podcast in Canada. We're recording on April 24th, 2017. Joining me tonight, we have Gavin. Gavin's a business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist, content provider for Toxic Kodiak Pathfinders, and the host of the Greater Toronto Area chapter of the Tactical Beard Owners Club. Hey, Gavin, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, not bad for having totally had to ad-lib the intro. We also have Sean.
Well, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
But we're using last week's jokes.
Well, yeah, but it's because we're talking about pot, you see.
Andrew has a bad memory from too much pot. So.
It's true.
Apparently 10 pounds is a lot.
10 pounds is a lot and illegal. 30 grams, that's all, which doesn't seem like a lot, but what do I know?
You can grow 4 plants, though.
As long as they're very short.
Yes.
And in the future.
That's so silly.
All right. We also have Sean. Sean's a metal building designer, gun lover, hunter, agnostic father of one, Regina Wildlife Federation vice president, CCFR, regional field officer coordinator, and prairie boy through and through. We also have Marty. Marty's a hunter and sports shooter in rural southern Ontario. And during the show this evening, we have Angela. Angela is a retail store manager, medical cannabis user, new shooter, and all-around swell gal. Hi, Angela. Oh, nobody's got anything to say now. Okay, fine. My name's Andrew. I'm a libertarian, competitive shooter, gear reviewer at Everyday Tactical.com, and a firearms instructor.
Then we'd love to hear your feedback about the show, so please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. If you use the 5-star review there, when you do, put something in the comments that you'd like me to drink for an episode. The edited version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes.
All right. And if you're on the social medias, you can visit facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast and give us a like. We'll let you know when new episodes air when we're live on YouTube, usually Monday nights at 9. Or check us out on the Instagram.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast. Remember to use hashtag bayonets out for Harambe. Tim is not going to read this next section.
Yeah, Tim's not going to read that. Why don't you read that, Marty?
All right. We need your help. To support the show, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You get the uncensored audio version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the cooler the rewards are. I believe we even have a official Tim's Good Tea as a reward level.
We do. They're quite good.
I hear that.
All right, let's go to my favorites. Let's go into my favorite segment. This is What Are We Drinking? We'll start left to right on my screen. So we're going to start with Angela. Angela, what are you drinking and or smoking?
I'm smoking Canatonic, which is actually a high CBD, low THC strain, which helps more with pain. It's less like, oh, I'm fucked up, dude, and more like, oh, I don't feel pain and feel good. And water.
Is it reverse osmosis water or is it regular water?
It's Brita water.
Yeah, only the best water in this household. Brita filtered tap water.
You need to
I don't know.
change the filter. The light was flashing.
I'll get right on that.
Gavin, what are you drinking?
I am drinking 4 Roses and Coke Zero again this week because I'm an unoriginal bastard.
You must be almost through that bottle, though.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the last show.
The last show where you drink that bottle.
Yeah.
This will not be the last time we do the show.
No, nor will be the last time I drink on the show.
Okay, good. Just clarifying. Marty, what are you drinking?
Coke Zero and Sailor Jerry's.
Good stuff. Sean,
this whole section of the show was a lot more interesting when we all weren't on the keto thing.
Yeah. Sean, what are you drinking? Save us.
Well, normally I go with Sailor Jerry's, but I broke down and got the Crown Royal Apple tonight and Coke Zero.
Okay, I got to know because I can't bring myself to buying the Crown Royal Apple because I'm afraid the LCBO guy is going to make fun of me. How is it?
I love it. Compared to that maple stuff you usually drink, I love it. It's my next go-to besides Sailor Jerry's. So
Okay, make me feel a little bit bad. I'm drinking the Crown Royal Maple. That's fine.
Somebody's got to buy that swell. That's for sure.
This is the same whiskey. I just feel really bad. I can't walk up to. It'd be like buying like sourpuss and walking up to the cashier at the LCBO. I just can't do it because I'm like gonna get laughed at.
You can do it.
Yeah, I've got a bottle of the apple here that I haven't opened that somebody gave me. That like I've been kind of just like, I don't know if I want to open it because if it's terrible,
it's not as like to define the taste to the best of my ability, which might not be very high. The apple is not as sugary as you'd expect it. There is some sugar content in it, but it's more mixed. Like if you're mixing it with Coke Zero, it's phenomenal. But if you're doing it straight, it's it's okay. It's not as bad as the maple, but when it's mixed with Coke Zero, it's amazing. So.
All right. Well, maybe I'll be drinking Crown Apple next week on the show.
Works.
That might be a trend next week.
Good.
Great. So everybody's going to drink Crown Royal Apple next week. That's perfect.
Yeah. Sponsorship.
Let's get into the beginning of the topics. Sean is on because he has developing news about the Regina Wildlife Federation. What's been going on there lately?
Well, yeah. So I don't know if you guys can remember from however long ago it was, a few months or whatever, but where we last left it, the RCMP. I should give a background for people who aren't really too aware, who are just first-time listeners or whatever, right? We've been going through a bit of an issue with renting out our pistol bays and our rifle ranges to the RCMP for their carbine training because they've had some issues with the ranges at Depot Division in Regina. And so we graciously opened our doors for a discount. And we're right across the street from a multi-million-dollar home development, hundreds of billions of dollars of home development there. And a few of the residents have not taken kindly to the amount of noise generated throughout the day. And due to that, over the last 2 years, we've received numerous complaints, and it's blown up in the media. And so the RCMP recently, as of November, have decided to take out their June, July, and part of August bookings for Depot Division for their carbine training. They're still doing their pistol certifications through F Division and Depot, and their shotgun certifications, but they're not going through the carbine training. So recently, the new part of this is that the RCMP conceded, like I said, but that's not enough. We received a cease and desist letter from one of the residents, just one, albeit. So we're not sure if they are fully representing the community or not, because we got this from one resident. And they said, cease operations and consult with them furthermore in terms of bookings moving forward. And we've decided to not comply. We haven't even responded with a letter. So we're going to see where this goes. But the terms in the letter have passed, and we're awaiting further action. But this could blow up. Now, we have consulted with Tony Bernardo of the CSSA in regards to what to do next, and we're currently weighing out the options. But it's just again, it's too bad, and I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention because this is a few affecting the many, right, and affecting Canada-wide, training Canada-wide. So,
well, and it could potentially set a precedent, like.
Well, and it's not just us. So this is the same course of action that went through a few years ago. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. Spruce Grove, Alberta, had their gun club shut down due to numerous complaints based on the neighbors. And it's kind of following that same course of action, and multiple clubs in Ontario are going through the same thing. And we don't want to take that risk. So we're just trying to get the knowledge out there that we are a wildlife conservation organization that happens to pay our bills with our multi-million-dollar facilities by renting out our facilities to various organizations, one of them including the RCMP and law enforcement, Brinks, Garda World, etc. But also wildlife, Scouts Canada, Girl Guides, biathlon organizations, stuff like that. But this new development is almost taking it, a little bit too far. We never wanted it to go this far, but it is what it is now, and it's kind of taking it to a different game, right? So
Sean, one thing you didn't mention in your sort of your recap was that all of the homeowners that purchase a home in that sort of subdivision type of thing across from you guys, that was built after the range, and it's a requirement for home ownership in that community. Is they all signed a waiver saying that they would not complain about the sound of the range, and that they were aware that there was a range in operation. Right.
Yeah. And one thing, it's not a requirement. It was due to their land lease agreement and their development agreements when they signed their mortgages and their bank paperwork, specifically stating that they will not complain due to reasonable amounts of noise. And the term reasonable, it can be defined however many ways depending on whoever's looking at it. So the developer purposely put that wording in there, to kind of screw things up a little bit. So when we went through, because we were running on the weekend, we were running a form of the Ontario Rifle Association CQB competitions, and also various level of IPSC matches and 3-gun matches. So the noises on the weekends have been coming up, but curious how they didn't say anything about that until we started renting to the RCMP. And like Marty said, they did sign an agreement saying they wouldn't complain, but yet, you know how it goes. Mm-hmm. It's pretty typical. But we did various sound testings. We're not breaking any bylaws, any of the rural municipality bylaws. So we're not doing anything wrong. And we're willing to work with them. We've invited the residents of Stone Point out to many of our meetings. We have another one coming up May 2nd, and that's a general meeting. So anyone can come in and have a say, but they haven't came to one. They haven't came to a single meeting. So we're more than willing to hear them out. But when they go to the CBC and other left media, it kind of gets blown out of proportion, and we got to come on and kind of defend our case, right? So that's where we're at now. We're kind of waiting for them to take the next step, but we've already lost revenue based on those 3 months of Monday to Friday rentals, right? And so it definitely has hurt us in terms of, because we contribute to the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation Habitat Lands program year after year. And the last year, our habitat donation was one of the highest it's ever been, based on funds we received from the RCMP, albeit their tax dollars. That, but we've bought public lands and things like that for hunters, and anyone who's in Saskatchewan has access to those lands. It's not just Wildlife Federation lands. So, with all that's going on in the States, and with the administration down there, they're trying to sell off a lot of public lands. We're not. We're actually purchasing more lands for hunters to go out and use them. So they don't. And also what they don't see is the big picture in these cadets getting their training, right? And people who don't have the trigger time, that say myself or Andrew or Gavin can put behind an AR-15. These guys are not getting it, and it's going to be drawn out longer because of this issue. So they're doing a disservice to the citizens of Canada by not getting our cadets properly trained, essentially. So
yeah, it's not ideal to send RCMP officers out of depot without having had the familiarization time they need with the patrol carbine, or your garden variety assault rifle for the rest of us.
Or long arm, according to the CBC, when the RCMP use it.
Maybe the residents are scared that RCMP's there with their jodhpurs and jackboots.
You guys are going to have to go one at a time.
Sorry, go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, sorry. The other thing is that I find frustrating here is just how typical it is with sort of the from the leftist side of things, where as soon as you accommodate, they take that step further. It's never like, we just need this, and then once you comply, then we're okay. And that's always the argument that they make it up front. And as soon as you give way, step.
Well,
it's just that incremental pushing.
Yeah, and that can go to a number of things, but in terms of that, we've consulted multiple organizations that have gone through this before, and they said the same thing. Don't give them an inch. Fight them tooth and nail.
It's like they,
Sorry, Marty, go on.
Like shoving they sense the blood, and then they come after. They all swarm. It seems like they see an opportunity and they attack.
Well, and being devil's advocate, okay. If I didn't come from the gun background, like some of our listeners have came from, with the whole AR-15 becoming the modern sporting rifle and things like that, when you're coming up with the game or the cell phone years and all that stuff, and the shelter that you come up in nowadays, to some people that can be really scary, and it's too bad that it's come to that. And this has become a microcosm of what I don't want to see going on in our country. And, because unfortunately we are providing a service to these guys by giving them the rate that we're giving them. Like, we could jack it up 400% and still be cheaper than what they can get it anywhere else in the country, essentially. And we're not. And, it's too bad, because we want them to get the proper trigger time that they need, because they're already not getting enough with the courses that they're providing already. But, I don't want a cadet to go into northern Saskatchewan and come on to a drunken disorderly, and the guy has a knife or whatever, or he's all jacked up on PCP or whatever the hell it is. And, have that officer who has a family, who has a child or family, wherever they're from in Canada, possibly have their life ended because of lack of training on the carbine. It's too bad. Now, that being said, this is all going to be a moot point in 2018, because the RCMP at Depot Division are currently revamping their current range, and they will be operational in the next year. So this all will be a moot point, but in terms of the Federation, we're going to lose tens of thousands of dollars in revenue that we wouldn't have, if they didn't rent it, right? So, because they rent not only the RAPS pistol bay, but they rent the GPSA, Great Plains Shooters Association, which is the PPC revolver shooting, and then the black powder range, and sometimes the centerfire range in the summer months when there's max daylight, right? They want to push a number of these troops through, and now we can't do that because some kids are off of school, right? And they're getting treated to less than 60 decibels of sound that make it sound like a war zone. And I'm quoting their opinion. This person's statement.
Now, when they rent the black powder range, do they have to wear the red coats and actually use like a musket? Because that would be awesome.
A tactical musket with full quad rails and Trijicon ACOG, right? No, obviously, right? No, they're shooting their same course of fire as they would on a 50-yard bay, but because those are the only facilities that we can use, that we can have them use, unless they drive to Saskatoon and bus 200 cadets every week to Saskatoon, which will cost even more than what they would be here. It's just. The frustration's getting to a point, guys, where it's just it's completely asinine,
What do you suppose the neighboring homeowner, why do you imagine they sent you a cease and desist? What sort of ability do they think that they have that they can issue that and it has any force?
Well, they're trying to muscle us, right? They're trying to strong arm us, and if we see it's from a lawyer and they're threatening further legal action, they're trying to strong arm us, and unfortunately, we're a club of old men and stubborn old men, and we don't get muscled very, very easily. So, that's where they're coming from. And this is just from the one resident. They're not representing the community. This is just from her. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's from the resident, right? So, You might want to edit that out, Andrew. But
It's the current year. We can't assume their gender. I understand.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I might get sued just for that. But
They could very well be a unicorn.
or a Apache attack helicopter.
That's how I would choose to identify.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, we're not sure it's the entire community, but we have to treat it like it is. And you know, I just want to get the public informed in a non-biased way, right? And you know what? I can understand where she comes from. She doesn't like what we stand for. They don't like what we do. You know, and it's too bad.
Don't move there. Like,
Yeah, that's just silly.
like
Well,
no one's
and
forcing
that's
them to live there. Like, no
Yeah.
one has a right to live there. You were there first. Fuck off. Like, it's that simple.
They knew what they were getting into.
you're saying what everyone's thinking, Gavin. But because it's
I've been
2017.
accused of that many times.
Yeah. So we would love to do that, but like I said, we've invited them to many meetings. We've invited them to become honorary members, you know, and come out and have a say, and they don't want to comply, and so it's come to this, and it is what it is, right? So we're going to stand what we believe for what we believe in, and we're going to take action that
Yeah, I mean, there was a once mighty organization that had a great saying for this: "No compromise." That's what you guys need to do.
yeah. You're right. You're right. I wish we could consult with that organization, but we're not going to do that. But
At this point.
you know, yeah. So no, like I said, you know, we got some advice from Tony and his gang at the CSSA, and they've gone through things like this before. And you know, me being part of the CCFR, we have our own general counsel being a member, and I'm a paid legal member of their organization that I can get advice from them, from the general counsel Mike Loberg in Calgary, as well. So we have multiple routes that we're going, plus local routes, because we have multiple members, including parliamentary conservative leadership candidate hopeful Andrew Scheer, who's been a member for a decade. You know, so we're not, you know, we're not just a bunch of hicks out there shooting our guns and drinking beer and let's go save the deer. Yeah, no, we're gun lovers. Yes, we're hunting lovers. But we're out to save the spotted turtle, as one of my close friends like to say it. You know, we don't want to see our rights encroached on, and we're not going to stand for it, right? So.
I like it. So next is wait and see what happens as far as legal action if their cease and desist
If there
has
is
not been
any.
met.
Yeah, I'm not sure there might be some and there might not be, but being that with our insurances the way they are, we're willing to take this as far as it has to go, because we've been in operation since 1964, renting out to law enforcement and other organizations, and this is the first complaints we've ever had. So, yeah. No, we're willing to stand our ground, and as much as Gavin likes to say about that organization that shall not be named, we won't. We're not going to take it on the chin, right? We're going to fight for it. So,
Well, I hope that the next time we talk to you, it will be because no legal action has been presented and everything is moving along smoothly. But I would love to have you back if things change.
for sure, I'll keep you informed.
I mean, also, just to mention, like, the balls of, like, a single community member just being like, you must consult with me now.
Well, now, and some of the meetings that they did come to, there was a guy from an Eastern European country who was war torn. I'm going to say Bosnia or Serbia or something like that. And you know, you can see it in his face. That guy's seen some shit. You know, he's participated and said shit. And you know, and he stood up for this person. You know, and you know, I take into account that, you know, this guy's gone through some stuff, and yeah, okay, he might not like it, but like Gavin says, if you don't like it, you're in an investment property that you can make a lot of money on if you were to sell, and especially since they've been long-term members of this since I think it was 2010 or 2012 is the number that development started. And the housing market in Regina, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, it's gone up through the roof, especially for developments like that. So if they were to sell, they'd make a killing. You know, and it's just too bad that they're picking a fight with us lonely hunters and shooters that they don't have a two nickels to scratch together to buy some 223 ammo. But it is what it is.
So Sean, I understand that and I sympathize with that. But here's the thing, if I'm like deathly afraid of heights, I'm not gonna buy like a condo on like the 50th floor of a building with a balcony.
Or if you got sound issues or your ears, you're not going to buy next to the railroad tracks, right?
Right.
Or Pearson Airport, you're not going to build next to an airport. So it's the same sort of thing.
That argument, I sympathize with that, but at the same time, that argument sort of loses weight with me when the guy buys a place next to the gun club and signs saying that I'm aware that there's going to be a gun club there and I'm going to hear shooting and things like that, and I'm not going to complain about it. That's where I was.
Especially well, and especially a gun club with the history of ours, right? Like we're staples in the community. Like our main hall, which is essentially a yurt. Essentially, it's kind of like a geodesic dome. It's been there since its inception. It needs updating drastically, but you can see the history in that building with walls and walls of plaques and trophies and of hunters and sport shooters and biathlon winners and the years, the decades of history that go back all the way to the 50s. Like it's not just we've been renting since 64. We've been in, I think 58 or 59 was our inception. And, it just to attack that history and just, essentially lose it. Because, we could, there's a neighboring First Nations reserve that's been wanting to buy our property for a long time to build a low-income housing unit there, and so we could sell to them and make our money back, but we choose, we're not going to, because we have sometimes 1,500 members a year, that rely on us to sight in, whether they're just sighting in their 2 rounds a year for their 270 or 30-06 hunting rifle, or they're avid shooters like myself who take part in Earl Green, Phase Line Green tactical courses, or potentially a Ragnarok tactical carbine course, or IPSC shoot or whatever, right? And I've got a young son. I've got a 13-month-old son that I want to be a member there, and go through what I went through, without getting his shit encroached on. I hate that, man. It's that's the big thing. I've had my fun, but with my kid coming up there, and it's beautiful grounds, there's ski trails, there's walking trails, there's shit, man. There's a ton of stuff, and they want to close us right down, and it's killing me, man.
And why? I mean, you're not harming anyone. It's a legal activity. It's a heritage activity in this country. You guys have every right to be there. So for them to be coming after you guys like this and trying to shut you guys down, it's just ridiculous. And it should be. It should.
Well, now we shouldn't say that they're shutting us down. We shouldn't say that yet, because they've implicitly stated they're not trying to shut us down. But this is mirroring a lot of events that have happened in Canada, like Spruce Grove, right? So
that's coming into my mind as well.
Yeah, they're not trying to shut you down, just like the liberals aren't trying to take our guns.
Exactly.
So, all right.
But have you guys thought about maybe getting just one quick comment. Have you guys thought about getting like the geodesic dome declared like a heritage site, because it's been there for so long? And you get one of those like plaques in front of it, and then nobody can fuck with anything, right?
That would be great if the RM would be for it, but we'd probably have to grease the wheels of some of the RM members to make that happen, right? So
I'm sure we can get a GoFundMe started that would do that.
But then that's just the dome. That's not the ranges, unless we put a range inside the dome.
It doesn't necessarily mean you can still shoot there. It means you can't
right?
alter the structure.
If they can't tear it down, then there's less interest to buy it, right?
Touche.
All right, let's talk about the Liberal government trying to take things a little bit. Marty, do you want to tell us all about how they're going to come and take it?
Are we on the Spartan 858s now?
Oh yeah.
All right. So we did discuss this previously. I'll do a quick synopsis of the prior history. It's Wolverine Supplies here in Canada. They sort of CZ to create a sort of a special edition of the CZ858, in that it had a engraved on the wood stock. All right, I forget the exact thing. So in the wood stock, I think it was just the Spartan helmet, or does the wood stock have the writing as well?
No, the
I
wood
think they
stock just
both
had
have
the helmet, I think.
Yeah, it was. Woodstock just had the helmet, I thought, and then on the, I think it was the bolt. It has a mole and lave engraved in it. So it just had some basically some laser etching and some engraving on the wood stock.
Maybe
And
I'm wrong.
The RCA. Yeah, I forget as well. I'm not a big 858 guy myself, so it's kind of
On the forend, the handle, and the stock, there was a Spartan helmet, a maple leaf, and Molave engraved on all three, or a combination of. Exactly where I can't
exactly,
remember, but
Yeah, you're right, Gavin. I just looked it up.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah, essentially it's
So
wood
the
hardware.
RCMP essentially made a decision out of spite to say that because this was a special edition, this was no longer the same rifle and required a new. And because of the previous issues that we had with the 858 and needing an order of council to maintain its non-restricted status, this automatically became prohibited. Medic engravings that were done in the receiver. So there's been a lot of back and forth, and today, sort of Wolverine announced that basically they're more or less done with this fight, and they are now selling takeoff wood stock kits that have the engraving in it, as well as they will sell part kit rifles, which is the remaining rifle with the receivers on them. And so you can buy...
They're parting out the rifles, is what you're saying.
They're parting them out. They're parting them out and destroying the receiver, because the receiver is the only serialized part. And you can buy everything that the RCMP deemed that they did not like about this rifle. You can buy that and put that on your receiver. And the receiver, which had no modifications and is absolutely identical to the ones that are currently in Canada and are still legal to be brought into Canada, those are being destroyed.
Wow.
I think I might need to buy a wood kit.
Plus everything else.
Yeah. I briefly mentioned there, I'm not an 858 guy, but I really, I have a lot of respect for Wolverine for doing what they do, and they do work with a lot of manufacturers to make, Canadian legal variants of things in specialized Canadian imports. And I'm really looking at considering trying to get a part kit and stock off of them to try and support them over this, because he's really, over the years, he's lost thousands, just absolutely thousands of dollars over this bullshit with the RCMP.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands, because this isn't the first time this has happened. And props to Mr. John Hepwell. John Hepwell, like you said, Marty, he's a champion for us, and for him to have to part these out is a slap in our face. It really is.
No, it's a brilliant move on their part, though. I mean,
Wolverine or the RCMP?
Wolverine, but it's a sad state of affairs that they had to do that. Like, because honestly, what difference does it make? But at least they were able to work around it and salvage something, and then kind of give a big middle finger back to the RCMP. But yeah,
I don't even think John Hipwell and Grumpy and those guys, I don't think they're that's what they're trying to go with this, Gavin. I think they're just trying to recoup some of their costs, because I think from what I read on CGN, I think they have over $80,000 invested into this project.
Oh, and I'm sure it is, but I love that it is also a big middle finger back to them, though, because it's like
unintentional or otherwise, right?
Unintentional, I think, for sure.
The part you hate, we're going to still legally be able to sell. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Which is probably going to make more people.
I agree with Sean. Yeah, I agree with Sean. I think this is absolutely, he's trying to recoup some capital. He's pre-laid out a shit ton of money to bring these here, and he hasn't been able to, see any sort of revenue off of that outlay of cash for several months now, and he's at the point where he probably needs to recoup some of that money.
Yeah, I mean, I've already got a CZ858, but I will definitely be buying one of their kits and potentially a whole kit to buy a whole other rifle because, I support their cause.
So I have an important question. Where can I get an 858 barreled receiver? Because those are press fit barrels, and I don't have the appropriate press to put a barrel together.
Are they press fit?
Right, that is yes,
they are.
These are press fit, unfortunately.
Shit. Because I wanted one of those barrels, especially getting some of that cheap Chinese corrosive ammo through it,
Yeah, these are brand new barrels in a now. I don't know how they're going to be destroying these receivers, but
I imagine they're just going to slice them in half.
Chops off.
Yeah, that's kind of my guess as well.
Like that's how you demill a receiver in this country, is you cut it up into small pieces. So
throw it in the smelter. That's too bad. That's that really grinds my gears, because you know what, the VZ and CZ858. Those rifles are awesome rifles, and you, Andrew and Gavin, you guys have probably seen them come through your courses. I'm sure Angela can attest to how awesome they are.
Fun. A lot of fun.
So it's just.
I like to run mine at courses, but
and I don't own one person. I own a VZ. A Czech Small Arms VZ or VZ858. Pardon me. I work for an American company. I have to somewhat do that stuff. But I own one because I cannot get a Kalashnikov, right? And these things are
that's
the
pretty
next
much
best.
why I bought mine as well. Yeah.
And sure, the mags are pinned to 5, and yes, there are some functionality differences. It's a completely different rifle, but it's a fun rifle, man. You can for having a non-restricted rifle like this, and to have a whole bunch of them and great machined parts too. Like the Czech Small Arms factory does a heck of a job.
Yeah.
There's zero tooling marks on mine.
And I have the same. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and to have these quality machine parts just get destroyed, yet they're bringing in, as much as I love the cheap Norinkos, they're bringing in Norinco, whatever the flavor of the day is, and it's just it's too bad that they're limiting our market even more, and but now we have an excuse to put extra furniture, and I can go back to my wife and say I'm spending money this weekend. So
for a good cause.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I think what pissed me off the most is that the receiver is not even one of the modified parts.
No, but
in Canada, the receiver is the firearm, and there is no modifications to this receiver.
No, well, and being, I've seen some of the RCMP retorts to this, and they're saying that the receiver is a modified fully auto receiver that they just filled in where the full auto sear goes. They just filled it in with weld and then grinded it down or whatever the course may be. And even still, that's a permanent fix. And they're still coming after it, which, I was at...
Is it easily modified to full auto?
Not without a mill. And not if you don't know what you're doing.
The other firearm, yeah.
Exactly.
But a steel block is your ability to, you have the same ability to modify a completely blank steel block into a fully auto receiver with a mill.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not going to
go to Home Depot and buy some pipe and turn that into a full auto receiver. Like, let's be honest,
Yeah. This is my father was an RCMP member, and for 37 years, and this is the police trying to write the laws, and this is why I don't know if you guys are voting for any sort of Conservative Party leadership, but this is why some of the candidates are campaigning for their firearms policy is so that shit like this doesn't fly. They shouldn't be able to write the laws from a stroke of a pen like this.
No,
and then to be clear, like when we shit on the RCMP, we're shitting on the sort of the politics of the organization. Lab. Yeah, and the firearms lab, not the individual officers. The individual officers who are out there dealing with shit, they have a tough job. It's
really
the
not
politics,
the frontline
the bureaucracy around them that sucks.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that and the pressure they get now from a liberal government to change these laws now is just, with the Grand Poobah, Ralph Goodale and things. It's we can only expect what's going on to keep going on, and we got to keep fighting it, right?
Absolutely.
And what bothers me is that this is a decision made by spite. They're pissed off over the previous, order of council, and so they're like, "Fuck you." This is just a spiteful move by them, and like what? On an individual perspective, I fully support decisions made by spite, but coming from a government organization, that is just not acceptable.
No, and that being said, everybody has egos, right? And somebody's ego got stepped on when Blaney reversed the decision years ago, and somebody took it to account here and said, "Hey, this is a different firearm because you've fire engraved some things into some wood." And it's egos at play, and it's too bad that hundreds of thousands of Canadian firearms owners are getting shit on because of this. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So, in general, firearms owners out there, if you're looking to buy, especially if you're looking to buy a CZ firearm, look at Wolverine. You might be able to get cheaper through other importers and that, but these are the guys that are fighting the fight for us. These are the guys that are working with the firearms manufacturers to get Canadian variants for us, and try and support these guys because we need them on our side.
You bet.
Yeah.
Certainly. All right, let's transition into the main topic this evening. The Liberal Party of Canada on their Facebook page has a big giant sign that says "Promise Kept?" checkmark. Shows your support for the Liberal government's new plan to legalize, regulate, and restrict the access to marijuana. So I guess pot's legal now, right?
Pot's legal, and we're giving $1 billion to Syria.
And we're going on vacation for 2 weeks, so we're not going to talk to you anymore. But don't worry.
Sounds
We're also
about right.
changing the. We're also going to change the impaired driving laws. And hey, long weekend, bye. I don't even know where to start with this one. This entire thing, there is nothing about the proposed marijuana law that makes me happy. Not that I am someone who.
There was something else that came out that day that they tried to sneak in. Oh, that was the bill C-47 was also. C-47 was also tucked in that day.
I think they used the marijuana thing as their smokescreen to hide the UN thing, because they're like, "Look, everybody, pot is legal, even though it's not really. It is. It's even more heavily regulated than it was when it was illegal.
Oh, this is totally another level of prohibition. But I want to start with their Facebook page because promise kept checkmark. Really? That's
where do I find the Facebook page?
Oh, Mr. Goodale. So now that pot's legal, you're going to pardon hundreds of thousands of Canadians who are in jail right now due to having 10 or so grams of pot on them. You're going to pardon them, right? Oh, no, I don't think that's right, because they're going to use it as a loophole and blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. Come on. This is ridiculous.
There's nothing about this I like. And at the same time, they're changing the impaired driving laws to give police more far-reaching power so they no longer require a genuine suspicion of impaired driving in order to perform a roadside sobriety or breathalyzer test. So, yay, overstepping.
Just a little bit.
I don't know. Do you guys want to start tackling a particular point in the marijuana legalization? Legalization in air quotes? Or is that parentheses? It might be parentheses.
Well, I'm fully on board.
It's strange how it's going to take them until an election year to figure this out.
I know. It's almost like I've been
That
saying.
I don't get at all.
It's going to be a wedge issue. It's so unpredictable. I just don't know how they couldn't see that coming.
Well, I guess, so as far as I know, the lone panelist this evening that requires medical marijuana, do you feel that this allows you easier access to your medicine, Angela, or does this make it complete bullshit?
it's been complete bullshit because there was a lot of places for me to go, but now they are no longer there.
Oh, you mean so even though they're making it legal, the police are still raiding all of these places and spending a whole lot of money and millions and billions of dollars going after and arresting people that are selling something that's going to be legal soon?
That is correct.
The
I'm as perplexed as you are.
the only people that I see benefiting from this is the government and the licensed producers. I don't see actual cannabis users benefiting from this at all, and I don't see how this is going to do anything to protect our children, which is what the liberals keep putting in all of their media releases about how this will save the children.
Now, the
So,
libertarian
on that
in me.
point-
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, on that point, I have this. I was unfortunately due to some time restraints this past couple of days. I didn't get to go through pull all the clips that I wanted to from some of the question and answers and Trudeau commenting. So I did just pull the one, and from his answer, I want to talk about the liberal reasons that have been given, and there's consistency amongst their answers. But I'll start off with a question from the Conservative MP.
This is a direct question to the Prime Minister. Does he feel that he deserves a criminal record for having smoked marijuana? Yes or no?
So the question is, should he or should he not have a criminal record for smoking marijuana? And his answer. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong answer. The long version of his answer. Hey, here it is. Here it is, guys.
Mr. Speaker, we're moving forward on legalizing marijuana for two reasons. One, because the current regime is failing our kids. Right now, kids underage have easier access to marijuana than in any country around the world. We have higher per capita use by underage Canadians than of any other country. We want to make it more difficult for kids to access marijuana, and that's why we are going to legalize and control marijuana. We also want to remove the billions of dollars from criminal organizations and street gangs that they use to commit more crimes.
So one thing, of course, we have a higher
no.
percentage of Canadians using it than any other country because we're Canadians in this country. Like,
yeah. So first off, the answer to the question: not be considered a criminal because he's admitted to use of marijuana. Anyone figure out what his answer was to that question?
Not from his statement, but I'm going to go with yes. Because I like that answer, and also because they're charging other people with it. And
yeah, he's not better than any of us. So,
is there a statute of limitations on marijuana use?
Not that I know.
I'm not the person to, yeah.
So then everything that I see, my magic 8 ball points to yes.
Now, from there, the next thing is that I want to comment about is that his argument that have easier access to marijuana because we have a higher rate of usage.
A higher rate of Canadian usage than any other country, to be specific.
But even still,
yeah.
The fact that we drink a lot of beer doesn't mean that our access to beer is easier than in other countries. There's all kinds of factors that can influence that. So, that's just a bullshit argument right there.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it's illegal makes it easier to access because criminals don't give a shit. I mean,
and then now the other thing is because of them legalizing it, they've been making all these arguments about how it's not a health issue and all this kind of stuff like that. Well, then why are they so concerned about kids having access to it?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that even an argument at all?
But he
you
still
either
didn't
believe
answer.
it's a health issue or it's not.
Yeah, but the point is he still didn't answer the question. The question was, should the Prime Minister of Canada have a criminal record because he smoked it prior to this legislation coming in? And truth be told, he dodged the question again.
So,
right.
Sean, you hit the nail on the head. That's a whole theme that we're going to be getting on in the future about how he's never answered a single question in Parliament.
But he did keep this promise to legalize it.
Legalize.
Well, guys, that being said, I don't smoke, partake in the marijuana, regularly. But that being said, once it's legal, the libertarian in me wants me to grow my 4 plants in my condo.
I've already had that.
That whole height issue or whatever we were talking about the other day.
Your plant may not exceed 100 centimeters.
So
which,
what if
unlike
your
a
plant?
bushel, is not a lot.
Yeah.
But what if your plant has to become a certain height, and grow a certain?
Too bad, Jill.
100
You're in jail.
centimeters. That is all.
So if you're using it for using it for medical purposes, then that defeats the purpose. You're planting a plant for fun. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
To be fair, I want to plant the 4 plants for fun, but I have been expressly told by the head of my household that I am not allowed to do that.
So to be fair,
why?
everyone that plants their 4 plants is planting it for fun.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Touche.
But
Well, now can you plant those plants?
If you're doing it for medical reasons and it has to get to a certain maturity, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, and I'm not
You want a
an
liberal law that
expert.
makes sense?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on this, but from what I've heard, I believe it's the indica strains
Oh yeah, you were saying.
that the plant doesn't flower. So the bud part that everybody smokes and gets high on is when it flowers, basically. And that doesn't happen unless your plant grows over this 100 centimeters tall. So in essence, they've made it legal for you to grow the plant, but not to the point where you would actually be able to use it for any sort of recreational and or medicinal purpose.
Well,
That's like saying you're allowed to make alcohol, but if it exceeds 1% alcohol by volume, you can't consume it, or you can't make it.
Are you trying to tell me that the Liberals passed a law with an arbitrary length limitation that makes no sense or has any practical implications?
Yes.
I can't think of any other laws where the Liberal government has passed anything based on arbitrary length restrictions.
or aesthetic purposes.
Yeah.
You seem to have a
then
big
also,
concern over size. I don't know what that's all about.
Do you have the CF18?
I don't know.
Please play the CF18 sound drop.
Whip out our CF18s and show them how big they are.
I mean, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and sometimes a marijuana plant is just a marijuana plant. Nobody needs to get nervous, It's not a statement about their manhood or their lack of manhood or womanhood, I guess, in the current year. Or whateverhood.
Yes, don't assume it's gender.
Now, and back to the Trudeau response. The last thing that he says about this, and this is the one thing, and I wish I had more time. I was going to pull all the clips that he's mentioned in the last couple weeks about this. There's been one thing that's been consistent across all of his responses in terms of the legalization of marijuana, is that we want to remove the billions of dollars from the sort of the criminal activity or whatever the current marijuana industry. We want to remove those billions of dollars.
How else are they going to pay their deficit?
Right, exactly. We all know what that means. They have billions of dollars. We want that billions of dollars. And so this is how we're going to do it. And
the model they're using, though, isn't going to do that.
Well,
but I'm saying because that's their. So that's where the reason why they're not, making it, decriminalizing it today, is because if they decriminalize it today and stop pressing charges and things like that, that doesn't put the billions of dollars in their pocket. Decriminalizing it and actually making it a benefit to Canadians is not their priority. Their priority is funneling the billions of dollars into the government.
Tax dollars.
And so they don't give a shit about whether or not people are being charged or not. So in 3 years' time, when everything can use as an election issue, then they'll use that as an election issue and then funnel all the cash into the government. That's the only thing they're worried about, and that's the way it's set up to do.
But that's the problem, though. So, like, their model that they're putting forth isn't going to generate those funds for them, nor do I think is it going to take that money away from drug dealers, because basically it's going to be like, okay, so we've got a handful of guys that are legally allowed to grow pot that they then can only sell to a government-sanctioned pot distributor, and then you can go in, much like the liquor store, and buy your, government-sanctioned marijuana, which is probably going to be terrible.
Yeah.
At an overinflated price. And then I could grow it myself, but I can't really because of these stupid other regulations they put into place that aren't going to allow me to grow something.
And don't forget that they're going to make sure that it's fun weed that doesn't help medically at all.
Yeah.
It'll just be THC high and no CBD,
And then,
so it won't have any actual benefit.
so yeah, if I want something that is going to be actually worth my money and at a reasonable price, I'm still going to have to go to my street dealer because I can't really grow it myself, and I don't want to spend an overinflated price on shitty weed.
And the
so
stuff,
it's still going to have a drug dealer.
Yeah.
I think what you're missing. Sorry, Sean. I think what you're missing is the same thing that happens with the revenue neutral carbon tax. So they're not going to make any money on the carbon tax. They're not taking the carbon tax. All the carbon tax goes right back to the province. Oh, but they charge GST on top of the carbon tax.
Exactly.
So they're not making any money on the carbon tax, but they do make the tax revenue on the taxed purchases. So as the carbon tax is applied to everything that we buy and everything, is applied to our bills and everything like that, the GST is applied on top of that taxed value. So the government sees a massive increase in tax revenue. And it's going to be the same thing with this.
Yeah. And in Saskatchewan, it cost me $55 to get a 24 can pack of Coors Light. What's it going to cost to get, an eighth or whatever of this THC rich, strain that people like Angela don't need, that actually need the CBD aspects of it, so I'm going to smoke that THC enriched, strain, whatever it is, before I go to work, but then I got to drive to work, right? Well, now what's in the law? The law says you can't be in excess of, what is it, 0.5 something of your blood level. Well, now, so I got to suffer, or Angela has to suffer in pain because we can't get the medicine that we need. And now I got to buy this inflated strain that I don't even need. So now I got to go to my street dealer and make myself at risk, or put myself at risk in terms of criminality, and then dealing with some of these shady cats that it's just, it baffles me.
And even them themselves would have probably more than likely a THC high strain anyways. So right now, the only way that you can really get anything that's actually CBD is through prescription, but you have to deal through the mail. You have to be ahead of, when you're going to be out, because you have to wait the however many days for them to send it to you again. And
we all know Canada Post is the most reliable service.
Oh
in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I mean,
implying
it
that
all becomes recreational. Then the medical market, which has basically been the focus to try to legitimize the whole pot issue, can totally drop right out, right? Like, because then it's just like, oh yeah, I want the funky monkey or whatever bullshit name they give it, and like
the Flying Hawaiian or whatever.
Yeah.
Flying Hawaiian.
And the people that actually need this, that the whole thing is supposed to sort of be about, are going to get left behind.
Exactly.
Also, the government can make a buck under the guise of helping people, but not really.
And it's been helping a lot. Like I would much rather be dealing with this. Like I've been doing CBD oil as well as flowers, and I would rather take that than Percocets or T3s or like.
Exactly.
I don't want to be a zombie every day because I'm in constant pain. Like
I'm a former opioid addict in terms of oxycodone. I fully understand what you're talking about, and yeah, it's that's gnarly shit, and you know that it's pill form heroin. I would much rather take a drop of oil under my tongue, you know, once a day than pop 10, 20 milligram pills of whatever just to live. Like, oh, that's horrid shit. Oh,
well, yeah,
anyway.
and I mean, it literally is pill form heroin because I mean, all that stuff is a morphine, which is a heroin basically substitute. Yep. So your statement is entirely true.
And I was getting it hand over fist. Hospitals, doctors, everything, hand over fist. Yeah. It was so bad. It wasn't until I was just like, I can't, my specialist, I was like, I can't anymore.
But let's not tax those drugs. Let's tax the shit that actually helps people like you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is retarded. Like,
but yet, you know, we're here and we're gonna have the left ranting and raving come 2020, right? That you know, oh well, we legalize marijuana and that, and then you have people like Angela who are sitting in the corner writhing in pain because they can't get what they need. It's just such a shit show, guys.
But thankfully,
God forbid you have a good summer where it rains a little bit more, you get some good sunlight, and your plant grows to 101 centimeters. You know, because you just
now can you grow?
Your crippling pain has stopped you from being able to go outside and trim it to its mandated size. Like,
well, no, they're saying that the children can't, that they're limiting access to children. So when people are allowed to grow their floor plants, can they grow them in their garden? Or do they have to grow them indoors, sheltered, and raise those hydro bills, you know, that Ontario already has, you know, trouble paying, right?
Like, I believe you'd be able to grow them wherever you want. But as we all know, children don't go after things that are low to the ground. It's only things that are high up off the ground that they're interested in, right?
100 centimeters plus, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably the children locked in cabinets. That would.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we'll just regulate the children so they're not allowed to go outside anymore.
There you go.
I thought we already had that.
Be careful, Marty.
It's pretty close already.
Yeah, I thought child services in Guelph look after that with that guy that let his kids play in the backyard.
Oh yeah, God forbid you let your children play outside unsupervised. That's
seriously?
Yeah.
In a fenced-in backyard.
Yeah, in their own backyard.
What
literally
the
playing in their
hell?
own backyard.
Yeah, not the neighbor's yard, their own yard.
Oh
this is
my
the society
god.
we live in now.
I fear.
And rather than go and check on them, the neighbor just decided to call the cops because that would be easier.
And I was gonna say, it's not even like just the crazy system. It's also the crazy neighbors that call that in and see it as their place to interfere in that type of thing.
Yeah, rather than actually being concerned and going over and saying, "Hey kids, where are your parents? Are you home alone? No? Okay, carry on then. Enjoy the sunshine and not being in front of a computer or TV."
There you go.
I don't know if you know this, but the solution to most problems is to add more state-sponsored violence. Because nothing solves problems like calling the government to send jackbooted thugs to deal with problems instead of addressing it yourself like an adult.
Well, luckily those jackbooted thugs won't have any good training because they can't go to range anymore.
They're going to be really good at mag changes and Gavin.
Oh, mag changes. All the mag changes.
Anyway.
So, basically, for our listeners, if you have neighbors, reassess your life and sort yourself out.
If you have neighbors, you're wrong. Fix yourself.
Yeah.
There's more than enough room in this country that everyone can have 100 acres.
That's right. You're
Somebody
not
may
wrong.
need to move extremely far north. It'll be very cold and inhospitable, but that means you'll have more space away from your neighbors.
That's great.
So in terms of pot legalization, aside from the government trying to get their tax dollars and legalize or licensed producers trying to petition the government to continue to grow and sell their pot, is there anything in the proposed legislation that actually benefits medical end users, or for that matter, recreational end users of marijuana?
I didn't read it, so I'm
No,
bad.
there does no, not at all.
I will say yes. I think that, and we'll have to see what the distribution model will be, but giving end users the ability to either grow their own or purchase their own through legal retailers is it could potentially be a safer situation than buying off of the street. So in general, I can see there being a slight benefit to end users by the legalization in general.
I feel like if somebody though really wants to have an issue with there's a dispensary that used to be down the street from where I work. I went there earlier in the morning, about maybe 2 or 3 hours later, the shopkeeper with like a buzz-in door and all of the whole nine ended up getting stabbed. So I think like it's gonna be wherever it's gonna be. Like it's gonna be in the streets, it's gonna be in a shop. It doesn't matter if somebody wants to.
No, but I mean, I get what Marty is saying in that, like, if you're not dealing with a nefarious character in the back alley somewhere at midnight,
But it's not like
your
that
safety
anymore.
is greater. But yeah, it all depends on the distribution model, because the way it looks right now is you're not going to eliminate those people. Those people are going to probably become more powerful and more vital.
Well,
so
right now the model is
if they actually had free market, then yes, it would totally benefit everyone and would totally get rid of all of those people that are profiting from this in a bad way. But that doesn't look like it's going to be the case.
Yeah, that bit is unclear to me at this point. So that is the one thing I can see. I do think that's a benefit, and it probably shouldn't.
If they do that, yes.
Like I don't think it should be. It shouldn't be illegal already. Like this should just be legalized.
Yeah. But now there's one fundamental question here, Marty. Sorry to cut you off. So when Colorado implemented their legal law or marijuana law, the banks refused to deal with the businesses in terms of opening accounts and stuff like that. So does that happen in Canada? I don't know. And if they are,
that's already happening in Canada.
Okay, so if it's already happening, they're going to have massive amounts of cash on hand. Are we going to start issuing carrying permits to people who are, owners of these dispensaries or whatever? Like
that would actually be a brilliant way to partner with them.
You would think so, but being that this is 2017 Liberal Canada, they won't, and they're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in that cash is going to have to get back to wherever tax center it's got to go, and who's going to protect them? Garda Brinks.
Well, I was actually having that conversation with Angela the other day after we went and stopped off at a dispensary, and I was like, why are these people not hiring a proper security guard?
They need to hire Ragnarok Tactical.
There you go.
That's right. That's right.
That would have been a lot more impressive than, unfortunately, the gal that was sitting there just kind of like, let me see your ID.
Yeah. But Andrew, we can't adequately defend these dispensaries with 5-round mags in our AR. We can't.
That's 4 more rounds than I need.
Well, luckily, 2 of the panelists on this evening have their use of force certification, so we're good to go.
That's right. Can you base stickman somebody if they try and break into a dispensary? Is that a?
I have a bayonet on this.
Yes, you can.
We can definitely base stickman them.
I want to learn that stuff.
And then we can detain them, but have to inform that they are under citizen's arrest for trespassing and breaking and entering. Otherwise, we get arrested. But
just have to make sure
you're going to get arrested anyway. It's Liberal Canada. That's how it's going.
Oh yeah, but for other reasons.
So Sean, going back to your original question in terms of going back to your original question of the banking situation. So there was in my local paper here, there was a company that had been doing business in town here. They had like a shop that sells I guess like accessories that they sell like pipes and shit like
glass. That. Yeah, glass products.
Yeah, glass like that kind of stuff.
smoking
And
apparatus?
yeah, I don't know. I'm the wrong person talking about this stuff. And so recently, just this past year, the banks pulled all his accounts on him. And he's like, I've been doing business here for 10, 12 years. I've never had any issues with the bank. Like, my business has only increased every year, like year over year. I'm profitable. And they pulled all his accounts for, like he's running a solid business.
Yeah.
For being a high risk business. And so marijuana-based businesses, that's one. And firearms, there's multiple instances of this in Canada, of firearms-based businesses as well, having their accounts pulled from them by the banks.
Okay, I'm glad Marty went there, because that was the parallel I wanted to draw with a bunch of this is, if we substitute the things that are in the proposed legislation for marijuana and the way that they're treating dispensaries and medical marijuana users, and we just substitute gun dealers and firearms users, suddenly everything looks really, really similar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like it doesn't matter what you're using. The liberals just don't want you to be able to do it without the government's approval.
Or paying them for it.
Well, same thing. That render unto Caesar.
That's how you get the approval. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's one of the reasons you see a strong. There's a strong overlap between firearms owners and their support of the legalization of marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, all I want to do is hang out at my gay friend's wedding and get high and carry a concealed pistol. That's all I want to do.
That sounds like fun.
Right?
Or I want to hang out with my boyfriend and protect my pot plants with guns. Whoever wants to do, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm like
that's exactly it. That's it. Honestly, like, it's a joke, but that's exactly it. It's
true. It's true.
Like, in terms of firearms owners and likely, I think you're going to see a lot of overlap with the marijuana that gets legalized, things like that. They just want to be left alone to do their own thing. Same thing with the LGBT type of thing. They just want to be able to do their own thing, and as long as they're not affecting other people, go for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely like I don't think I'd be able to make it through the last year or so of waiting for my surgery, which I'm having in 10 days, to hopefully deal with all this stuff. But yeah, the last year, if I had to do that without marijuana, it would have been bad. I would have been all screwed up on pills. It would have been horrible.
Yeah. Imagine going through that without marijuana and substitute oxycodone, hydrocodone, or one of the variants. You'd be a shell of the girl you are now. So,
but the thing is too now, like,
well, you wouldn't be able to go take a rifle class because you'd be intoxicated.
I know.
With the CBD and all, you're not spaced out. You're completely with it.
Yep.
The CBD oil has been it's been night and day. Like, I almost don't even need to smoke more times than not if I can take the CBD oil, because it just kind of makes everything better instead of messing with my head or just making me feel off.
And you can function, right? You can go to work, you can drive your car, you can hang out on the Canadian
go do an awesome course.
That's right.
Definitely helped me through that course.
Medicinal effect?
Yeah.
No.
Pardon me?
I wouldn't say that it doesn't.
Does it have any beneficial effects? Like, I know it has that's the sort of the psychoactive effect of it is THC, but does it have any sort of medicinal impact as well?
I wouldn't say as great as the CBD, but like if you're one of those people that like needs to sleep or something like that, then it would certainly do that.
If you need to sleep or if you need to eat, like if you don't eat enough and you're having problems.
I would say that
the THC is the one that has the sort of the appetite and
okay. If you've got like nauseous, like if you're nauseous and stuff like that, like that could probably help you because like
it cures a lot of stomach issues and digestive issues and insomniac issues as well.
Yeah,
the
so like
CBD is all mostly
CBD is like 90% of the medicinal stuff, I would say, and then like there's a small percentage of people that would, in my understanding, benefit from the THC. But THC is typically more recreational. But then there's two types of strains. Like there's that, you know, one's a bit of an upper, one's a bit of a downer, and each strain can have different concentrations of both of those things. So you don't necessarily have to have. You can kind of get one that works best for you, right? Like it gets you maybe a little high, and but still deals with your pain, but you're still fairly functional. But then now you're sleepy or you're hungry or whatever.
That's the hard part, is trying to find something that enables you to just be like a normal human being.
That's something where like full on legalization, where any, you know, independent company can run a business producing these type of things. That's where this can help, because, you know, you can have the sort of the, let's say like the Coca-Cola of weed, where it's like, yeah, this is our brand of weed, and you can determine that that's the one that works for you, and you can get that wherever you are. And you know,
well, if there was more money actually like funneled into legalizing it and getting more like on top of knowing more about it, that would be amazing as well. Because you go into these dispensaries and you ask people about things, and they know the name, and they might have they'll have an idea of this strain, but they won't. There's no telling how much THC is in it, or how much CBD is in it, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's all kind of just, they've smoked it and they found, okay, like it gets me, you know, up and going, or it chills me out. But there's, you know, they don't want to spend the money on.
Well, yeah, especially for CBD, like that costs a lot of money to test for, so nobody wants to do it. Yeah. But I mean, if you went to free market, like people that need that would pay for that and go to them for that. And,
absolutely.
But
There are actually, I was walking down Queen Street and I found a place, and they specialized in like CBD only, and it was all like oil and stuff like that. So, you know, it's comforting, but seeing there's a lacking of that happening. It's not all about just, you know, rolling up a joint or smoking a bong. You know, there's other ways of taking it, and that kind of negative stigma needs to just
and I mean, I know people that use it not even ingesting it, but like for skin treatments and stuff like that. Like, so like they're not even getting high out of it or ingesting it.
I have this cream, and sometimes when like Gavin's got, like, if he's come back from one of the Ragnarok tactical courses, and his you know, and his wrists are hurting from shooting or something, a little bit of that, I'll give him a rub on his wrist, and it usually helps. It's not like he's getting, you know, stoned from it.
I am one of those people that gets very paranoid from ingesting the marijuana, so I have not done that in many years, because I will barf everywhere. So that, you know, rubbing that on my wrist alleviates the pain in my wrist or whatever, but it doesn't make me high whatsoever. So
and like you said, that affects everybody. Like marijuana, or the compounds that are involved in it, affect everyone differently. So how are they going to differentiate? You know, let's fuck over the CBD users, and let's sell the THC only strains. You know, that's going to screw a lot of people over, and it's the same thing goes with alcohol, right?
Well, they'll just turn around and say that you have the ability to get a prescription and you can get it through mail, not understanding that there is a great.
Oh yeah, but if they legalize it, that whole thing could go away, because there's no need for a medical program if it's legal.
See, that's bullshit.
And those distributors, what kind of business? Like, what's going to happen to their business?
Bullshit.
Yeah, just like, I mean, there's some medical benefits to alcohol, but because, you know, it's completely legal, no, you can't get a prescription. Like, I mean, a little bit of alcohol helps thin out your blood. It helps lower your blood pressure and all of those things. So, like, you could, if you have problems with those things, in theory, your doctor could write you a prescription for alcohol, but it's legal. So there is no medicinal alcohol.
Well, and we're
Yeah,
we're gonna get there eventually, guys. Like that's it'll be regulated the same way as that, but it's gonna take time, and I fear if they jump into it the wrong way, which I fear they are.
We'll be further back than we are now.
Exactly.
Oh,
Right, and I don't want to leave people like Angela behind in that, or palliative care people who don't want to take the opiates or whatever. Like Sarah, my fiance Sarah, her dad died a few years ago, and he was late form cancer, and he would have loved to have access to stuff like that, but because there's such a stigma behind it, it's like he's like, no, I'm gonna sit here all fried up on fucking morphine, and
There's actually a customer of mine who is going through like her, oh my God, I don't even know how many, probably her 5th or 6th bout of chemo. And every time she comes in, I keep telling her like bring it up to your doctor. Like they can give you something that's going to give you that appetite. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to, take away that nausea and take away those pills. Cause you can see that the pills are just, they wear so heavy on our bodies, and we're giving them relentlessly.
But it has to be done. It has to be done right, and the way the liberal majority is going about it is all wrong, and
that's what pisses me off on this.
Yeah,
you know what? This is one of the things where I'm like, at least they're gonna do this. I thought they'd at least had a chance at doing this in a reasonable way that could, would be a net benefit. And it's like, even the thing that they were supposed to be good at, they still fucked it up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Essentially, the one thing that they won the election on, they're fucking up.
Yeah.
Right. And they're 2 years behind schedule, according to.
Sorry for the editing, Andrew, but
yeah.
No,
I don't get why it's going to take another year. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Because it's an election issue and they can use it as a wedge.
I get that, but it's
pretty sure we called that on
so
day one.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, sure did. Anyway, if this goes off as well as I think it's going to go off, there's going to be a lot of problems.
Oh yeah.
My only hope is the fact that there are, it seems, people out there that are trying to open up, like, I guess, dispensaries of sorts that are CBD driven, and that will continue to be something that people will be able to get access to.
The mindset's definitely changed, from 5 years to now, even like, and that's huge, right? But like I said, in terms of how they're going to roll this out, the laws they're putting in place, how are these business owners going to defend themselves? That's my big issue. If they're carrying tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in deposits to the bank or whatever, this is going to be an absolute shit show. And there's going to be, well, Andrew, your business is going to go through the roof because they're going to be hiring you out to escort some huge deposits, right? So,
if any of our listeners out there in podcast land happen to own a dispensary and they require armed guard services, I know some people.
Yes, two of us are certified.
Yeah, we will teach you all about becoming a base stick man or woman.
I want to learn.
There you go.
And you can certainly sign up for a carbine operator class.
Yes, I highly encourage it.
Or potentially down the road some hand-to-hand combat self-defense classes.
Oh, I want to do that.
Andrew, when's the next Ragnarok Tactical Carbine course going on?
That's it. That's all that's scheduled for 2017, with the exception of the 7th annual Podcasters Charity Shoot, the Friday before the charity shoot on July the 8th. On July 7th, we're having a carbine operator class, but I will not be making any money. All of the money is being donated towards Many to One, an organization that supports veterans and first responders that suffer from PTSD.
And a bite.
Which is another great thing for pot. They've been doing a lot of research lately, and the marijuana has helped with PTSD. So,
Kevin, do you want to
come on out to the charity shoot?
Do you want to tell the listeners
about the charity shoot at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the charity shoot will be on July 8th at the Guelph Rod and Gun Club. Entry is $40. That gets you into the tournament, gets you a T-shirt from Tim's Good Tees. They are quite good.
I hear that.
Yeah, like Andrew said, all the money goes towards Many to One. There's some phenomenal prizes from a massive, massive list of sponsors. If you go on to the CanadianPatriotPodcast.com website, there will be a link at the top that says 7th Annual Podcast Charity Shoot or something like that. You can click that, hit the links, and that'll take you to registration, which opened a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be a great time to come out that are competitive, but also people that have never come out and shot before. There will be loaner equipment and guns and ammunition for sale for those of you that do not have stuff and require it. It'll be a good time. Lots of networking of like-minded people supporting a good cause. And yes,
and unfortunately, we had planned to give away 10 pounds of marijuana to everybody that came, but the legalization isn't going to happen until the next election, so we won't be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, next year we'll do it.
So you'll have to blame the Liberal government for the fact that you are not receiving 10 pounds of marijuana each at the charity.
Yeah.
10 pounds.
Yeah. Which I believe 10 pounds is roughly a bushel, which is a lot of doobies.
Yes.
Okay, so we firmly established that I don't know how much marijuana is a lot of marijuana or how big a bushel is. I get it. That's fine. You're all very funny.
You're welcome for that segue, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was an excellent segue.
Excellent one.
Yeah.
Sean, you're officially hired.
Did you get that out?
Oh, we probably didn't. Let's drop that link, Marty.
All right. Link on the top of the CPP homepage, 7th Annual Canadian Firearms Podcast with Charity Shoot. It's I'm not reading it. It's on the top of the CPP homepage. Come check it out.
Yeah, it's really simple. You have agency. Just do it. Yeah.
It will be worth
it. All the dashes in there. Just go check it out.
Yeah.
There's
we'll all be there.
Register now.
Yeah.
We should try and find an ammo sponsor for that. Instead of having to sell ammo, just give some away. That'd be awesome.
Also, the podcast needs an ammo sponsor. If you produce ammunition and want to sponsor the podcast, send Andrew an email. I don't know. How can they contact us?
Feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Let me know that you produce ammunition and you would like me to talk about it on the podcast regularly. We would be happy to promote that to our dozens of listeners.
Yes.
Product test.
Sounds like a good thing. Oh, yeah.
I will speak to Ray at Wasp Munitions. I'll see what I can do to swindle you guys a deal.
I'll take it.
Maybe
anything is better than what I have now. Literally anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's. What else do we have? Where's the best place to find everybody? Angela, do you have any sort of social media personality?
What's my Instagram? I don't even know.
No.
What is it? Here, wait. Somebody else go, and I'll tell you in a second.
Like I said, you can find me on the Instagrams at urbex_GTA, or you can find me on the Toxic Kodiak Pathfinders website, which is tkpnation.com, or their Facebook page.
I found it.
Nice.
It's Lil Old Ange, so LIL_old OLD_ANGE.
Good stuff. As the director of social media, Marty, where can everybody find the podcast?
At feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
That's where you'd send us an email, but I'll take it. Close enough.
In the subject line, put down Marty.
Yeah, if you send it there, it'll get its way to me.
It'll get to where it
That's
goes.
right. Close
Hey guys,
enough.
go and check out the Regina Wildlife Federation Facebook page. We're kicking ass and taking names out there, and we got lots going on in terms of dinners and various events that we have out there, and we're welcome to all support and we just love it if you go and give us a like.
So Sean, is there anything that those of us that are not in the area can do to support you guys in your efforts?
Well, yeah, just get in touch with me via the Facebook, or I guess I can give out my email in the link description. But yeah, there's various ways you can come out. We're looking to actually book Andrew and his company to come out and do various trainings at our facilities on top of other events. But yeah, a good baseline is check us out, ReginaWildlifeFederation.com, or I think that's it, or our Facebook page, Regina Wildlife Federation. I keep that up to date pretty heavy. So yeah, check us out there.
Right on.
Thank you.
Sweet.
All right. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaka again this week. I'm afraid we just couldn't fit him into the show. There was too much talk of marijuana.
Hey, Andrew.
Marty.
How can people contact you?
Oh, best place to find me is RagnarokTactical.ca. That's your source for Canadian firearms training, as well as medical supplies and other associated tactical goodies.
It's true, like this shirt that I'm wearing right now that I purchased through Ragnarok Tactical.
It's pretty
That's a nice
sexy.
shirt.
I mean,
That's a nice shirt, Kevin.
It's no
Thank you.
good tea, but it's pretty good.
It's
Do
pretty
you have
good.
big boy sizes for that?
This is an extra large, so
I mean big boy, like Western Canada big boy.
Yeah, we can hook you
I
up.
The
believe you.
non-keto big boy.
Non-keto.
Nice.
For all our listeners out there in podcast land, we want to remind you that you are the true north, strong and free.